I never thought I'd be standing in my grandma's backyard with a camera rolling while she grinned at me like she'd just come up with the best idea in the world. But here I was, face to face with her beloved donkey, Rufus, with absolutely no clue what I had just agreed to. "Come on now, honey," Grandma said, adjusting her wide-brimmed sun hat. "It's not gonna bite." The way she said it didn't exactly fill me with confidence. See, my grandma's the type of person who's always up to something. One of those old-school ladies who's lived long enough to know every weird trick, remedy, and farm tradition no one else has ever heard of. She grew up on this land, raised animals her whole life, and swore by methods that didn't always make sense. At least, not to me. Back in my day, she always says, before launching into one of her wild tales. And this time, I had a feeling I was about to be part of one. It all started innocently enough. I was visiting for the weekend, sitting on the porch, sipping iced tea, when Grandma suddenly popped out of the barn. Her eyes gleamed like she'd just thought of something brilliant. "I got something to show you," she said, and I should have known right then this wasn't going to be a normal weekend. Before I could ask what, I found myself following her past the chicken coop, stepping over muddy patches until we reached Rufus, who stared at me with his big, lazy eyes, clearly clueless about what was coming next. Grandma clapped her hands. "All right, get ready," she said, pulling out a small jar that looked suspicious. "What's that?" I asked, squinting at it. But she didn't answer right away. Instead, she began smearing whatever was inside onto Rufus's snout. The donkey didn't seem to mind. He just flicked his ears and kept chewing on a piece of hay, as if this was just another Tuesday for him. "Your turn," Grandma said, holding out the jar. I blinked. My turn for what? And then I saw it. That look. The one that said, "You're not getting out of this." "Trust me," she said, her grin widening. "This is an old trick people don't do much anymore, but I swear by it." I looked at Rufus again, who was still standing there, completely unfazed. Then I glanced at the camera, propped up on a wooden crate. "Gotta get this on tape," she had said earlier. "For proof of what?" I had no idea. With a sigh, I reluctantly took the jar from her hand, still unsure if this was some secret beauty hack, a farm ritual, or just one of Grandma's elaborate pranks. Either way, there was no turning back. I dipped my fingers into the jar, the sticky, thick texture coating my skin. "Okay, but what exactly is this supposed to do?" Grandma only grinned. "You'll see." Not reassuring. I glanced at the camera again, its little red light blinking, capturing every second of my hesitation. "You're gonna make me look ridiculous, aren't you?" I muttered, eyeing her. "Oh, honey," she laughed. "You do that fine all on your own." I exhaled sharply and reached toward Rufus, smearing a small amount of the goop onto his nose, just like Grandma had done. For a moment, I was sure he was about to sneeze all over me, but instead, he blinked those big brown eyes and went right back to chewing, completely uninterested in what was happening. Grandma nodded approvingly. "Now, the fun part." I wiped my hands on my jeans and looked at her warily. "Fun? What fun?" She didn't answer. She just stepped back, watching me like she was waiting for something. The silence between us stretched longer than it should have, and I felt my stomach tighten. "Grandma, what now?" Before she could respond, Rufus suddenly perked up. His usual lazy chewing stopped, his ears flicked, and his nostrils flared slightly. I stepped back, suddenly aware that something had changed. He was focused, more focused than I had ever seen him. Grandma, I started, my voice tightening. She clapped her hands together, clearly pleased with herself. Well, ain't that something? She said, nodding toward Rufus. I followed her gaze. My heart sped up as I saw it. Rufus's expression had changed, just slightly, but enough to make me sweat. He took a slow step forward. I took one back. Grandma, I said, my voice rising. She chuckled. Oh, you'll find out soon enough. And that's when it happened. Rufus moved again, this time with purpose. He wasn't just standing there anymore. He was walking toward me. No, charging toward me. Not aggressively, but with enough determination to make my pulse race. I froze. Grandma, I yelped, stumbling backward. My feet slipped in the loose dirt, and before I knew it, I was running. I didn't know what I had just done, but I needed to get away from Rufus. Fast. Grandma's laughter echoed behind me. She was doubled over, holding her sides like she'd never heard anything funnier in her life. Oh, honey, she cackled, wiping a tear from her eye. I forgot to mention, Rufus really, really loves that scent. What scent? I shouted, barely dodging the chicken coop as Rufus stayed hot on my heels. He loves it, she repeated, still laughing. It drives him wild. My heart was pounding and my mind was racing. What had I just smeared on him? Was this some kind of farm torture device? I didn't have time to figure it out. Rufus was closing in, and I had nowhere to hide. I sprinted past the chicken coop, my breath coming in ragged gasps. Every time I dared to glance back, Rufus was right there, hot on my trail, his focus unbreakable. Grandma, I screamed, panic creeping into my voice. Call him off. But she was too busy howling with laughter to be of any help. Get yourself out of this, she called back, delighted by my terror. I tried zigzagging to throw him off, but Rufus was smarter than he looked. Every time I turned, he adjusted. Every time I darted, he followed. My legs were burning, and I knew I couldn't keep this up forever. Then, just as I was about to collapse from exhaustion, I saw the old apple tree ahead. The barn was too far, the fence too high, but the apple tree, it was my last hope. I dashed toward it, my heart in my throat, and just as I reached it, I turned and pressed my back against the rough bark. I panted, hands on my knees. All right, buddy, let's talk about this. Rufus slowed, his ears flicking back. He looked up at me, then back at the animals watching from the pasture. Goats, sheep, and 2 miniature ponies. I knew I was out of options. But just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I heard the sound of metal clinking. I twisted my head just in time to see the gate to the pasture swing open, and then it was chaos. Rufus bellowed, and the rest of Grandma's animals charged toward me like a stampede. The goats were in the lead, hooves flying. The ponies followed, eyes locked on me. The sheep shuffled behind, confused but determined. And to top it all off, the chickens and ducks joined in, waddling and pecking at the mess, quacking in alarm. Grandma, I screamed, do something. She was still laughing, clutching her stomach. You're on your own now, kiddo. With the animals closing in and nowhere to go, I knew I had to act fast. I grabbed the jar from the ground and flung it. It sailed through the air, landing with a loud splat in front of the goats. Instantly, the animals shifted, distracted by the scent. The goats, the sheep, the ponies, all of them forgot about me and rushed toward the jar. Rufus, however, wasn't fooled. His eyes stayed locked on me. I was out of time. In a desperate move, I reached into my pocket, pulled out a peppermint, and held it out. Rufus froze. His nose twitched, and just like that, his demeanor shifted. He relaxed, calmly walking over and gently taking the peppermint from my hand. Relief washed over me. Grandma, still wiping tears from her eyes, grinned. Well, that's one way to get him to calm down. I took a deep breath, realizing it was over, finally. Or so I thought. Looks like you've got a mess to clean up, Grandma said, glancing at the chaos behind me. I groaned. I was never visiting without backup again.